Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Taurus season, Leo sun, moon, and rising. My Leos, this Taurus season, deep breath, is actually not that intense astrologically. Doesn't mean things aren't happening, doesn't mean we aren't dealing with change and shifts, but unlike the beginning part of this year, we don't have any major once in a generation transits, which is yes. Are some things wrapping up? Is Saturn heading closer to not Venus, gosh. Is Saturn getting closer to Aries? Yes. Is, Uranus getting closer to Gemini? Yes. But those shifts haven't happened yet. And really the only major things that are happening, they're not even that major, is Pluto stationing retrograde. And it's an outer planet, which I find not any less impactful, but I find the effect tends to be more expansive over time. So it's one of those things where it happens and it takes a while to sink in the process. And then we have Sun conjunct Uranus. I think the big point about this is it's the last time we get it in Taurus for our lifetime. So very big deal. But it does happen once a year. So it's big in the sense that it's, that kind of Taurus, that kind of last Taurus sun moment. Also, if you were born, in the early 90s, edge of the 80s, it is also that end of that Uranus trine that we've been existing in for quite some time now, which has been really impactful for all of us, that Uranus trine and that Neptune trine. So for those of us who are like late-ish to late millennials, that's a kind of a big deal. And we had that big Jupiter conjunction um, earlier last year. And while Jupiter's not involved this time, we do have the sun coming back in, and a lot of that stuff's going to be reactivated. So just be aware. Then we have the new moon and the full moon. The new moon is in Taurus, full moon's in Scorpio. And they're exactly the same every year, unless we get a little extra one thrown in because um, new moon is the sun and the moon conjunct in Taurus, and the full moon is in opposition. Um, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to feel refreshed because they're no longer connected to the eclipses. Because even that final, Libra moment was very eclipsy because it is still kind of wrapping up this massive cycle. So I do believe, Leos, we get a breath of fresh air. Mars is also in your sorry, y'all. I am in a chronic pain flare up, running on vibes. Mars is in your sign, Leo. It is finishing out its post retrograde stuff. I will say, while we are getting forward motion, there is a bit of like dealing with past themes because Venus, Mercury, I think Mercury's almost out of it, but Venus, especially Venus and Mars, are going through their post shadow period of the retrograde. So we're tying up some loose threads, covering up some things that have been tilled up. So don't be surprised if the beginning of Taurus season, especially, just feels a little slow. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's time to kind of take our time to exist and recoup and reabsorb and expand into everything we've had to learn. Basically, what feels like on lightning speed through the beginning of this year. Um, and you also have the Hanged One in here, which I've had one time before in these readings. I read them in order, so I've only done four. But I do think that is very much the vibe at the beginning of Taurus season. I think the bright side is that you do get to kind of like enjoy and chill instead of having to go, which I think we all need a bit of a break. And it's going to be a little conflicting because Mars and Leo is going to be like, but I think we are going to still have to deal with some, little retrospective work. But starting off, I love this partially because this kind of actually looks like the Hanged One in this deck. And this is a separate deck. This is the Oracle deck. This is Gallant, accepting healing energies, which I do love. I especially love the little fire orb in his hand, like the starlight. It feels very Leo-esque, especially with her. Um, it is time to be brave. It is time to take the time to allow yourself to heal, to recoup. I know a lot of people have gone through like big relational changes and shifts during these past retrogrades. If you need to heal from that or mend some broken bones, this is a great season to do that. I think everything just needs to be done slowly. And I think a good reminder, especially in our post capitalist society, which we're still in the capitalist, it's just dying. It's just a reminder that, you know, good things don't often happen quickly. And it's a hard thing to accept because we're told that quick is the best way, but truly the best healing happens slowly and consistently over time, and that's how the body does its best work. So don't feel like you're doing something wrong, especially at the beginning of this Taurus season is just very chill. Moving into why I was like, wow, this hanged one looks similar. They also have fabulous hair. So this is the hanged one. I do think, and I've said this to other signs, pardon me, I do really think that the beginning is slow. I think there is a very slow build in Taurus season. I think it is a good slow build. I think it's a necessary one. We need to slow down. We need to take our time. Nothing is going to happen quickly, especially after. I know it feels like we haven't had control and haven't been able to do much, but we have been doing a lot just processing and engaging with the current energy and the energy of Aries season. So give yourself a break, allow yourself to kind of sit in the energy, especially at the beginning. Let that new moon in Taurus really revive you. Reminder, we do also have like a giant grand, we have a not, it's not a grand cross. We have a giant T square. We have Mars, Pluto, little cute new moon in Taurus, which is an exalted moon, but it is still in a T square. So very spicy. And um, kind of the outlet for that is going to be Scorpio. So leaning into more scorpionic things, taking your time, being resentful, really, really getting pissed about stuff, um, dwelling on the past, but also planning to get a bit of your own back. It's not going to be all rainbows and sunshine, but I do think it's going to be very activating and inspiring. And if you haven't been on a journey of activating yourself and um, taking responsibility as a part of the wider community, this is a call to action. And I think it's on April 29th, April 28th, one of those days. It's right before my birthday. Then we have a Three of Pentacles. This is time to get in touch with people. It's time to reconnect, time to strategize and make plans. Pentacle are really about commerce and material things. Friendship comes in many different forms. Some friendships are very material. So if there's someone who you enjoy hanging out with because you give each other a lot of things, it's a great time to reconnect. Use the energy to be outdoors and to have fun while making whatever concrete plans you're planning on making. But I just really want you to enjoy the energy of this time. You are a sun creature. So get out in that spring sunshine, get out in the fact that we finally have a warm glow versus the pale winter glow, and really connect. If you are also feeling kind of under resourced, maybe check into your human resources. Like, what people do you know that have access to stuff that you need access to? um, I really love barter systems, and I think a part of bartering is using those connections and networking. um, then we have this beautiful Hierophant, which is the card of Taurus. I do love this guy because he's kind of mangy. Mangy's not the right word. I feel cruel saying that. He's a little tattered and worn and ancient and has great wisdom. Um, this is about learning and higher knowledge. I think if you're going to put energy anywhere, I would stick it into learning new things, and maybe not so much in an academic sense, but in a very like hands-on sense. So like if you want to learn pottery, if you want to take a class that has you doing whatever the task is physically, um, or just trying it yourself and seeing what happens. Also seeking out mentors is always a great thing to do with this. Excuse me. Getting over a cold, and the tickles are still spicy. Um, so yeah, really getting in and seeking knowledge from other people and finding information from higher powers. If you don't have access to people, thought I had a cough drop. It doesn't matter. If you don't have access to people, that's fine. You can also access spirits and guides and things like that. But it really does feel like you need to maybe reach out and find some advice from someone who has more wisdom and knowledge than you. I'm going to take a quick break to get a cough drop. One sec. And I'm back with a cough drop. All right. And then we have the Seeker, which this is a very individual card to this deck. I really think it's really lovely and gorgeous. It's kind of this liminal card between worlds where the figure has their head kind of in this otherworldly night sky magical space while kind of coming in from, what we might consider the material realm. And it does feel that this fixed sign, this sign that is squared to you this season, is a threshold for you crossing over into something else. It also reminds me of the Gallant Oracle card. It takes bravery to do this type of work. So seek out the magical this season. Find that beauty and transcendence and do something a little scary. Maybe not something dangerous, but do something that magically or spiritually requires a level of faith from you this Taurus season, partially because you're going to have a little more space to do those things. And then last but not least, we have the devil, which I don't get mad about. Maybe there are some, maybe on the other side, you do kind of feel a bit worn out and maybe you want to fall back into some coping mechanisms, but I really think we're leaving the coping mechanisms back with those retrogrades. Um, but I think if something's not working, try something unusual, subvert that energy, change things up. If the Mars retrograde taught us anything, it's that there's not just one way to do something. And sometimes the way that's counterintuitive, if it's available, if the door is open, is the way to get the things we want. It's just a different path, a different method. Um, Also, maybe have some fun. Go out, meet new people, maybe have some spicy experiences. Um, don't keep yourself in a box. Don't keep yourself indoors this season. Get out, enjoy things. It is my advice across the board to do Taurus stuff, eat food, go on picnics, have fun, hang outside, do activities in the open air. Gosh, this video is a shambles as I have to stop a notification. It's fine. But really enjoy yourself this Taurus season and don't cut yourself short. I know that there's this hangman sense, and a lot of the journeys seem to be a little more winding in this Taurus season for you, but understand that good things take time. And within that time, you're going to have some really magical and brilliant experiences. Anyways, my loves, that is my reading for this season. I will see you in a different space and time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please pop any questions or comments you have down below.